bad, you know? And Scott H. Byram got it. And if you haven't listened to Scott H. Byram, like, that is an outlaw ever, you know? But I decided that I was mad enough about this that I wanted to write an actual outlaw ballad. And try to make it a true story, like try to stick it to all the folks that are just like wearing a big hat and clown shoes and then being like, I'm an outlaw, like, great, or congratulations, just coke everywhere. Like, good luck, you know, anyhow. So, I discovered when I got to Arkansas like 14 years ago, old-time music, really. Not old-time music learned from the internet, but old-time music learned from grandparents, right? So I found there that there was a kind of freedom that I'd never really felt before, an actual piece of culture that was like given to me freely by people who had never managed to monetize that culture, right? It was actual like culture that didn't need to be monetized. That was fucking fascinating to me. So I decided I wanted to try to find the best stories out there that hadn't yet been told so that I could tell a couple of them on stage. And when I got to Arkansas, I was invited to play fish fries occasionally, sit on a hay bale and play banjo and stuff like that. And I was going out to this one particular fish fry in this place called Booger County. And they asked me, do you have four-wheel drive? And I was like, this is going to be good. You know what I mean? You know out here, right? It's like, if you can only get there with four-wheel drive, you are in luck. You are going to a good party. Right? Because you can't leave after all the beer is drunk, and you cannot arrive unless you, etc. So, after I was out there, I started hearing rumors about how this outlaw sheriff named Ralph Baker lived out there. And apparently Ralph Baker ran one of the largest drug-running operations in the upland South in the 1990s. And he was also, of course, the sheriff of Booger County. That's called vertical integration, when you can do things that are good for you at once, right? So this outlaw sheriff did a bunch of bad shit. But there was this guy named David Mack who lived up in Michigan, and like a lot of Northerners, myself included, moved down south and was like, hey, I'm going to grow a bunch of marijuana in the arid soil of the Arkansas Ozarks because it grows really well out there, almost as well as it does in California. Immediately when this hippie David Mack got there, he ran into the drug running operation of this outlaw Sheriff Baker. And so from microfilm, rumors, a self-published book, and a bunch of other shit talking to people, I kind of cobbled together this story of the outlaw Sheriff Ralph Baker and the hippie David Mack. It's called The Money Grows on Trees. There's a sing-along component. I'll teach it to you. You guys are smart enough to do it. Friends, I smoked my first joint in my 16th year. It was the same time that Ralph Baker became the sheriff around here. The county clerk probably thought it weird how far the ballot count was off. But in the Ozark Hills, in the country of God, we know the kind of money that Prohibition brought. So when Ronald Reagan started waging a war on pot, he made outlaws out of us all. So I stole heirloom seeds from Humboldt soil. I got the Maui Wowie, I got the diesel, I got the California gold, but the White Widow smokes the smoothest, I'm told, in the hills of Arkansas. Now, miles from any blacktop road on a couple hidden acres with a mobile home, a short ways away from where Sheriff Baker was born, I started my first industrial-scale marijuana grow with bush hogs, shovels, and a mile of hose with 20-watt bulbs and styrofoam. They warned me at the hardware store. They said, the law knows what all you hippies grow. But hauling chicken shit in my junked-out truck, I would sell anything for a greasy buck. I'm Sam Walton. I'm J.B. Hunt. I'm a job creator. I'm a dangerous one. Oh, hippies, hillbillies, won't you gather round? A good man murdered, a bad man drowned. The cops are all moonshiners now, but the money grows on trees. Yeah, the money grows on trees. I'll give it to you one more time. Yeah, the money grows on trees. But again, yeah, the money grows on trees. I met Sheriff Baker in the White River Basin. I was staring down the barrel of his Smith & Wesson. He cuffed me up and he took me in and I figured I would fry. But a Huntsville jailhouse is no place for me. 2 days later he let me go free. But he said from now on he'd be taking a piece. Like the old days of running moonshine, he would take $1 off the top for every dime. And I knew I'd have to pay Sheriff Baker off good. There were long-haired hippies growing pot all over these woods, but none had the firepower that I would with a lawman on my side. And Sheriff Baker was no flat-top pig. He had a knife in his boot. He had a 9 on his hip. He was an outlaw biker. He wore a Mongol stitch. He was known wide and thought of well. So I mouthed off everything that I know. How you kill a male plant so a flower can grow. I sent the sheriff on midday raids to rob and steal and confiscate every bit of that competing green gold. And I grew my own sticky bud full of pine and loam. My purple-haired hybrid, my lover, my own. Now I'm a lost boy from a good home. I'm a Booger County CEO. me. Oh, hippies, hillbillies, won't you gather round? A good man murdered, a bad man drowned. The cops are all moonshiners now, but the money grows on trees. Yeah, the money grows on trees. I shipped my first deal out through the USPS, and the money came back to me as a cashier's check. I thought 10 grand was the best it would get, but boys, I did not know that money grows greed, and greed grows wrath. I had 10 flour sacks full of weed and cash, but Sheriff Baker robbed us, and most of that stash left his tracks for us to find. So will you guard your pride? Are you going to risk your life? Will you clasp your hands and blow on the dice? I had prison on the table. I had to let it ride, but I swore the motherfucker wouldn't fool me twice. A long haul drive with a cocaine grin, a horse trailer full of my finest blend. I struck up a new deal with some Armenians, and the payout went sky high. $10 for every dime. In the Kings River Valley with the very same caves that hit a young Cole Younger and a young Jesse James. I couldn't spend all the cash we made. I buried 1 million presidents. 50 G's up my sleeve like a stone cold killer on a plantation house with a great big cellar. I was throwing up dirt with big diesel tillers for a few hundred more pounds. Sheriff Baker bought up all the land he could get. I got a black Mustang, he got a red Corvette. The bigger we got, the bigger our heads. Of course somebody came for it. Yeah, the DEA put eyes up in the sky, so we just grew hydroponically in the cellars inside. Sipped sweet tea on the porch and watched the motherfuckers fly by because we were too damn big to fail while the sheriff was throwing them off our trail. Now, you might curse your bad luck, but of course the federales one day got a warrant for us. Too bad our safe house got lightning struck in some wild-ass act of God. Yeah, we were wild-ass acting gods. Oh, hippies, hillbillies, won't you gather round? A good man murdered, a bad man drowned. The cops are all moonshiners now, but the money grows on trees. Yeah, the money grows on trees. I went back to the farmhouse in the dead of the night to try to dig up all the cash money that I never did find. I had a good grow for the last time. I got caught red-handed on the mountainside. Now the rich get richer, that is just how it goes. They can poison you with their pills and their GMOs, but I did a 10-year bid for just a little smoke because a poor man can't get high because it ain't white-collar crime. Now I got out, but I never pissed clean. Kept slinging that shit on the low and lean till Baker's side piece, young Billie Jean, said she was going to sell us out. Those things that you whisper ear to ear. Billie Jean up and disappeared, but you better button your lip, buddy, keep it sealed and take the truth down to your grave. Sheriff Baker got as low as a man can get. Methamphetamines and a pile of debt. His kid is suicide and his wife just left. I heard he wanted the end of it, and I guess I could see why. Because all the Hell's Angels wanted our heads for handshake deals and cash for sex. When I found his corpse, he was long dead, dredged up by the riverside. Drowned or murdered, I can't decide. Oh, hippies, hillbillies, won't you gather round? A good man murdered, a bad man drowned. The cops are all moonshiners now, but the money grows on trees. Yeah, the money grows on trees. It's too damn much. Booger County has changed. There's no good end to this outlaw way. They don't hire felons here, so I can't go straight. I'm going to end it all myself today. So I robbed the Wally World off MLK. And I'm waiting for the cops to take me away. Can't you see those blue lights blazing? Hey, they won't take me alive. It's ashes to ashes. It's dust to dust. I'll leave in a body bag, but not in cuffs. If it sends my soul to hell, won't you tell my story well? Oh, hippies, hillbillies, won't you gather round? A good man murdered, a bad man drowned. The cops are all moonshiners now, but the money grows on trees. Yeah, the money grows on trees.